Shalum, Shalum, and welcome. Welcome to the White Robes channel. If you're tuning in for the first time, my name is Symmanayah, and these are the words I'm compelled to present before an awakening, set-apart nation, to individuals that are drawn by the Almighty Creator, Yahuah, He who is the beginning and the end, who draws us to Yahusha Mashiach, which is His word, which is also the name in which He wants us to identify His Spirit, Yahusha. If you're tuning in for the first time, my name is Symmanayah. In this series, the Final Exodus Countdown 23, I present things that I believe are relevant to the preparations for the final Exodus that I believe will occur in the 12th month of the Gregorian calendar known as December, by December 21st, 2023. December 21st, 2023. I believe all that is necessary to convince us that there will be a final Exodus will come to be at this time. In this segment, my brothers and sisters, but before I get into the segment, I want you to know this. I encourage you to listen to the first and second installment of this series, where I present how and why I arrived at the date of the 12th month, which is actually our 8th month, which stands for new beginnings. I didn't say new year, I said new beginning. Our 8th month, but according to the Gregorian calendar, December 21st, 2023, I explain why and how I arrived at that date. Normally, I don't speak on dates, but nevertheless, hear these words, O Yashar'al. The views expressed in this does not necessarily reflect the owners, management, and/or shareholders or sponsors of this media platform. On that note, let's get started. This segment, Revelation booked ends, and I didn't say book ends, booked ends is what this segment is about. I will present to you why rocks are significant. A rock, and if you can see that, raise it up. Rocks. I will also present to you how significant in learning a whole plate will be. I will also present to you a connection to a broken plate. And I will send connection to water, how water plays a role. You might say, what are you talking about? Come with me, my brothers and sisters, as we get into this segment. Booked ends. Revelation booked ends. I want to read to you one definition of the word booked. It says to list or record appointments or engagements in a calendar that was booked solid on Tuesday is an example. Booked, you know how you book reservations, how you book talent. I will say to you, O Yashar'al, that from the beginning to the end, the planet is booked for certain things that will happen according to the word of the Almighty Father. Book. Revelation brings about the conclusion of booked ends. Come with me, my brothers and sisters, as I move on. Let me read the following to you, O Yashar'al. It says, one day, what will your words be? Will these words echo from your lips one day? I wish that I would have, as it relates to end times. I should have. I am glad that I did. You see, my brothers and sisters, belief is a critical thing. Soon and very soon, we will look at things that we cannot step back and correct. We will understand the importance of focusing forward and establishing our feet as the Almighty Father directs and draws us in these final days to positions that He would have us to be. Consider this O Yashar'al, as I talk about book ends. Matthew 5:44 and 45 say, but I say to you, love your enemies. Bless those cursing you. Do good to those hating you, and pray for those insulting you and persecuting you, so that you become sons of your Father in the heavens, because he makes his sun rise on the wicked and on the good, and sends rain on the righteous and on the unrighteous. Yashar'al, my brothers and sisters, many people don't realize when he say love your enemies and bless those that curse you, do what is set apart. It doesn't mean be passive and just do things that promote your own demise. It means do what is right in the eyes of the Almighty Father. Remember, he loves us. And what has he done for our sake to demonstrate his love? He have embraced us. He have comforted us. He have killed for us. He have destroyed lands for us and people for us. You see, love has many facets, many dynamics. I shouldn't say facets, just many dynamics. Blessings have many dynamics. But he's not asking us to step outside set apart instructions and be passive. But I also want you to know this, O Yashar'al. When it says he sends rain on the righteous and the unrighteous, there are those who would have you believe that all of us will be saved and delivered from the four corners of the earth. And I submit to you, O Yashar'al, those that he have designed, those that he have ordered to fulfill the final exodus, these are those who step forward and will be gathered to fulfill what is written. My brothers and sisters, we will learn what's booked and for what, for whom, where. Our appointed times are before us. Let us not seek to save these lives, these physical lives, for they'll go back to the dirt, as the scriptures inform us. Yashar'al, from beginning to end, let me read these words. Ecclesiastes 3:10 and 11 says, I have seen the tasks the Almighty One has given to the sons of the men to be humbled by it. He has made it all beautiful in its time, even the ages. He has put in their hearts, except that no one finds out the work that the Almighty One does from the beginning to the end. O Yashar'al, the day will come. Judgment time will come. We are closer to redemption and deliverance than we can imagine. Yashar'al, regarding the letter versus the spirit, there's a lot of uncertainty going on right now. A lot of mixed thoughts, mixed positions of belief, teachings, and practices. But know this, unity will come. The Spirit of Yahusha will dwell up within us, springing correction and refinement out of us. Yashar'al, O Yashar'al, unity will come. Let me read the following. Such trust we have towards the Almighty One through the Messiah, not that we are competent in ourselves to reckon any matter as from ourselves, but our competence is from the Almighty One, who has also made us competent as servants of a renewed covenant, not of the letter, but of the Spirit. The letter kills, the Spirit gives life. We will understand, O Yashar'al, what this means as we are refined in these final days. I talked about rocks. I talked about plate, a hole in a broken plate. I'm going to get to that in a minute. But I want to read this, O Yashar'al. Genesis 1:1 and 2. In the beginning, the Almighty One created the heavens and the earth. And the earth came to be formless and empty, and darkness was on the face of the deep. And the Spirit of the Almighty One was moving on the face of the waters. Let me give you an example of something that occurred at the words and power and might of the Almighty One. Come with me to 1 Kings 19, 11, and 12. 1 Kings 19, 11, and 12. It reads, "And he said, Go out and stand on the mountain before Yahuah, and see Yahuah pass by in a great strong wind, tearing the mountains and breaking the rocks in pieces before Yahuah. Yahuah was not in the wind, and after the wind, an earthquake. Yahuah was not in the earthquake, and after the earthquake, a fire. Yahuah was not in the fire, and after the fire, a still small voice." Examples of the power and might of how rocks and earthquakes can be broken up. There's a point to this. Stick with me, my brothers and sisters. I want you to consider that Yahuah, as his word manifests before us, there's an example where Yahusha says he will give us endless water. There's a passage that also informs us that Yahuah is a consuming fire, and I will read those shortly. My brothers and sisters, end times are here. There are some plans going on that nothing can stop nor get in the way. Let me continue. Keep this in mind regarding endless water. And Yahusha answered and said to her, "Everyone drinking of this water shall thirst again, but whoever drinks of the water I give him shall certainly never thirst, and the water that I give him shall become in him a fountain of water, springing up into everlasting life." Yashar'al, if you haven't discovered already, you can read one passage of scripture, read it again in a month, a day or two, read it again and again. And oftentimes you can get more out of it than you did the first time, something even different. If it's different but do not conflict or contradict, then it is an example of how his word can be as everlasting water, constantly getting something from the scriptures that build and strengthen us, bring us into improved worship and obedience to the Almighty Father. That's the everlasting water. But if you're sticking to the text, the letter, you're trusting only your brain, your comprehension, abilities, comprehension that was forged and programmed by wherever you were raised, whatever school you went to, whatever household, whoever you hung around or fellowship with. These are elements that forge your opinions and how you read and comprehend, not just you, we. But when we look at the Spirit of Yahushua, he cuts through all that and brings understanding and brings life to the scriptures in ways we could not imagine. Yashar'al, Yashar'al, keep in mind that Yahusha is the groom and we are the bride. And an example is given and instructions. Even though the literal is talking about a husband and a wife, it also references our relationship with Messiah. In Ephesians 5:25 and 26, it says, "Husband, love your wives, as Messiah also did love the assembly and gave himself for it, in order to set it apart, to cleanse it with the washing of water by the word, in order to present it to himself a splendid assembly, not having spot or wrinkle or any of this sort, but that it might be set apart and blameless." Washing of water by the word. It is by the word of the Almighty Father, Yahuah, in the name of Yahusha, that our robes will become white, that our beings will become clean before the Almighty Father. Consider Revelation 7:14, where it says, "I said to him, Master, you know," and he said to me, "These are those coming out of the great distress, having washed their robes and made them white in the blood of the Lamb." Washed by the word of the Almighty Father. Also, I want you to keep in mind, as I mentioned, Yahuah is a consuming fire. Deuteronomy 4:24 informs us, "For your Yahuah, your Almighty One, is a consuming fire, a jealous El." There's a point to this. Come with me, O Yashar'al. I want you to come, see, and hear with patience why this is important. why this is connected to the title Revelation Book Ends. Earth will be destroyed, O Yashar'al. It will be destroyed, and I want to present to you a scripture. And I shared this once before, and I've had more than one person tell me it won't be destroyed because the scripture says the earth is forever. Hear me out, O Yashar'al, as I believe the Spirit made clear what these words mean about the earth being destroyed and how the earth can be forever. First, let me talk about how the earth will be destroyed. 2 Peter 3:10 through 13 reads, "But the day of Yahuah shall come as a thief in the night, in which the heavens shall pass away with a great noise, and the elements shall melt with intense heat, and the earth and the works that are in it shall be burned up." First, I want you to know this, my brothers and sisters. Have you not read in Revelations, end time prophecy, how the skies will become dark, the sun will be darkened, the moon as blood? You see, my brothers and sisters, our ability to see what we would call the heavens of space will be changed. We polluted the planet and clouded the atmosphere. But a new heaven and earth, we will see space as it is from a new perspective, clearly as the Almighty Father would have us to see it. Let me continue. When it talks about the elements melt with intense heat, and the earth and the works that are in it shall be burned up. You see, my brothers and sisters, the earth is considered a rock with many layers, many components. And I believe that the Almighty Father showed me that he will go and he will burn and consume all that has been polluted and contaminated by man, and get down to the core and the closest layers to the core of the earth. And all will be burnt and consumed. And the thing that we know as the rapture will be merely when Yahusha comes, there will be a point where he will lift us off the planet, caught up in the sky to meet him. And then the final burning of the earth. It's almost though if you was cleaning a table and you had to take everything off the table and wipe it clean, and then you'll put the place settings back and in order. This is what will happen. The surface of the earth, all where we've polluted, the waters will melt and be consumed. Do you not know, I read, that Yahuah is a consuming fire? This is what will happen. It doesn't say the rapture is we go to be in heaven with the Almighty Father. It didn't say that. It said caught up in the air. So he will lift us up in the final burnings, the final purification. The polluted lands and waters will be no more. Let me continue. Seeing all these are to be destroyed in this way, what kind of people ought you to be and set apart, behave in reverence? Looking for and hastening the coming day of the Almighty One, through which the heavens shall be destroyed, being set on fire, and the elements melt with intense heat. But according to his promise, we wait for a renewed heavens and a renewed earth in which righteousness dwells. My brothers and sisters, I had a person bring out this verse and another, and I call these individuals with swift tongues, who was quick to say that I didn't know what I was talking about, that passage was wrong, that the earth is forever. And I explained to him that all that man has tampered with and polluted will be burnt up. But from the core to the closest layers to the core, we will see remain intact. The new heaven and the new earth, we will see space like never before. The polluted skies will be cleansed and cleared by the power and might of the Almighty Father. Pray and watch. There are many who I consider individuals with a swift tongue who will dispute that the earth will be destroyed. This one guy that I met, and there's more than one, there's a couple of them, who quoted the following passage and gave no room for me to explain. I believe there are many who would take his position without asking questions to how can these two be the same? How could the earth be forever, and how can it be destroyed? And I've explained it to you, O Yashar'al. This passage is what he held on to. The righteous shall inherit the earth and dwell in it forever. He failed to recognize that a new heaven and a new earth will come to be. Come and see, O Yashar'al. Revelation, book ends. Again, I ask your patience as I continue. There will be a new earth. Consider Revelation 21:1. And I saw a renewed heaven and a renewed earth, for the former heaven and the former earth had passed away, and the sea is no more. Pray and watch, O Yashar'al. These times approach us. My brothers and sisters, I present connections and expectations for the future, things to expect. Come with me as I get into it. And no, I have not forgot about the rocks and the plates. Earth being a rock, the planet. Now, I'm not here to debate you or discuss whether it's round or flat, but I say this, it exists. And on this planet, yes, a planet, there's something to talk about regarding its inhabitants and the plan of the Almighty Father. My brothers and sisters, what do you see before you? Take a look. Take a moment. What do you see before you? I say to you, for the sake of speeding things up, I see the sky. I see water. I see a plate. I see a black ring around a plate. I see fire. And of course, you see the speaker, myself. A plate, water, the sky, fire. Remember, the Almighty Father Yahuah is a consuming fire. What do you see now? I submit to you, my brothers and sisters, there's a whole plate. Underneath the plate where you see these rocks, you see the sky, the water, and fire. Do you know at one point the major land mass on earth was all one, all connected? I want you to research the word Pangea, my brothers and sisters. Research Pangea, and you will see there was a time when the continents were all connected. You might say, well, what does this have to do with anything? Continue with me. I ask your patience. What do you see now? A broken plate, sky, water, a black ring around it. I submit to you, this black ring is indicating the darkness that is under the layers of the surface of the earth. And this plate that appears to be broken, I will submit to you, my brothers and sisters, as the people were scattered on this planet. The Almighty Father scattered the continents, broke the rock up, and underneath it are plates. Tectonic plates. Look up the word tectonic plates. And these shift and move in earthquakes. No longer is the plate whole. It has been fractured. Stay with me, my brothers and sisters. I show you a plate. I show you the rocks scattered, with the center one representing, if you would use your imagination, Africa. To its left would be North and South America. To the bottom would be Antarctica. To the bottom right would be Australia. To the right middle would be Asia. towards the top right would be Europe. Pangea is no more. And we see that underneath there, you can still see the markings of tectonic plates broken. Stay with me, my brothers and sisters. Could it be that one day, when the scripture talks about a renewed earth and a renewed heavens, if you had a car that was broken, that was wrecked, misused and abused, and it was renewed, would it not be put back to its original state? Will we see that with the earth? Will Pangea come to be like it was from the beginning? Will the new earth that we expect be as one landmass? Will the skies be clear and pure? Will the water be clear and pure? All this can happen by He who is a consuming fire. Stay with me, my brothers and sisters. Here's a picture that I got off of Wikipedia. Pangea One Rock. It gives you a rendition or someone's image of what they believe Pangea looked like. Of course, I am of the belief that Africa is much larger than depicted in this image. But for the sake of just saying how it's all one rock, I use this image, my brothers and sisters. One rock. Just as I did with my rendition of a rock. Broken apart. Now in this image, my brothers and sisters, you can see that Africa is a little bit more closer to scale than the other one. And the reality is I am compelled to believe that Africa is even much larger than what they're showing here, but that's neither here or there. I wanted to show you a fractured earth, a fractured planet. And this again, Pangea made whole. Could it be that a renewed heaven, a renewed earth will put earth back to where it was in the beginning? Pangea made whole again. Consider these words, O Yashar'al. In Revelation 21:5, he who was sitting on the throne said, "See, I make all matters new." And he said to me, "Write, for these words are true and trustworthy." All matters new. Isaiah 65:17 says, "For look, I am creating new heavens and a new earth, and the former shall not be remembered nor come to heart." You see, my brothers and sisters, we will see that it will be so much ahead of us to focus on. There's no need to look back at the past. No need to turn our head and twist it back. For it's so much work ahead of us, so much in our worship and obedience to the Almighty Father. Remember Proverbs 4:23-27, it talks about establishing your feet, focusing, O Yashar'al. 2 Peter 3:10-13 says, "But the day of Yahuwah shall come as a thief in the night." I read that earlier. It talks about the earth being melted, burned up, and the sea was no more. My brothers and sisters, I won't read this because I read it earlier, but I presented it again for you to reflect. Will we witness things return back to the way they were originally? Revelation. Now I spoke about the planet, the rocks breaking up, tectonic plates, the continents separating, coming back together. Now consider what I'm about to present, O Yashar'al. Over the years, over the centuries, we have been scattered and we will be gathered. Consider Deuteronomy 28:64. "And Yahuwah shall scatter you among all peoples from the one end of the earth to the other, and there you shall serve other mighty ones, which neither you nor your fathers have known, wood and stone." You see, out of our rebellion, out of our disobedience, we were scattered. And who was able to see that as he scattered Pangea, scattered the continents, we had a place to be scattered to, more widely than if Pangea would have been still together. But, oh Yashar'al, the time will come when we will see we will be gathered. Isaiah 11:12 says, and he shall raise a banner for the nations and gather the outcasts of Yashar'al and assemble the dispersed of Yehudah from the four corners of the earth. My brothers and sisters, this talks about movement. And I believe just as Pangea was one rock and broken up, and as man was scattered, they became inhabitants of the different rocks, the different continents. And I believe that in our gathering, the earthquakes, the volcanoes that we see, many of you may not know, but when a volcano erupts, when magma and lava comes out, it creates new land mass. It reshapes islands and land masses. Shores are reshaped. Many of you may not realize that over time, when this magma gets hard, enriched soil comes and vegetation comes, from fruit to vegetables to other greenery. Yashar'al, and our stubbornness and our fight to do what we want to do, we will witness in the refinement and the discipline that the Almighty Father will bring to us. We will witness, Yashar'al, how? In discipline and refinement, things will change. We will learn, my brothers and sisters, why forced migration, forced movement is necessary. Out of all the uncertainty, just as the rocks were moved and Pangea broke up, I submit to you, he will gradually move continents, gradually, back to where they would be. It would be so subtle, many of us will not even recognize it. And I'm not trying to bring a debate or discussion on he's moving the mountains and the rocks and the continents together, but I am bringing a discussion that the earthquakes will force you to move. If you are on either one of these continents, you will move as the earthquakes, volcanoes, as meteor showers come, as tsunamis come, as he reshape things and conditions, movement will come to bring about the final exodus and the preparation for the return of Yahusha Mashiach. Yashar'al, consider what I'm about to present to you. Revelation, the first seal. I want you to consider these words, my brothers and sisters, as I present them to you. Come with me as I connect this to rocks, a plate, a planet, water. The first seal in the 6th chapter of Revelation reads, and I saw when the Lamb opened one of the seals, I heard one of the 4 living creatures saying like a sound of thunder, come and see. And I looked and saw a white horse, and he who sat on it holding a bowl, and a crown was given to him, and he went out overcoming to overcome. I submit to you, O Yashar'al, the rider of the right horse received his crown from the Almighty Father Yahuah, to lead the charge, to let people know during these final days it's time to choose between good and evil. It's time to make your final decisions, O Yashar'al, whom you will serve. And I submit to you that the person on the white horse has a bow without the arrows, because the arrows are out. Now the question is, What end of the arrow are you on? Are you on the end of the arrow that moves and navigates throughout across the face of the planet? Arrows that pierce through wickedness to magnify and reveal set-apartness? Or are you on the side where the point of the arrow is hitting you and destroying you? You see, the bow is empty because the arrows are out. What is your perception? Are the arrows friend or foe? Depends on your position. And I believe, my brothers and sisters, this is the sound of thunder. Make your decisions. Make your final decisions, my brothers and sisters, between right and wrong. The first seal talks about a messenger bringing about that final choice. The second seal, my brothers and sisters, the second seal in Revelation, come with me as I read it. 6th chapter Revelation, verse 3 and 4. When he opened the second seal, I heard the second living creature could say, "Come and see." And the horse fiery red went out, and it was given to the one who sat on it to take peace from the earth, that he should slay one another, and that they should slay one another. And a great sword was given to him. Yashar'al, this second seal, this sound. Look around. I want you to take a moment, pause this if you will, and look up volcanoes erupting, lava and magma, lava coming from volcanoes. Look up what happens when a meteor hits the earth and explodes like a nuclear bomb. You see fiery red, my brothers and sisters. When you see destruction coming, the scriptures tell us about earthquakes in diverse places. Do you not know when earthquakes come, and many occasions volcanoes are formed and erupt? Fiery red. Now, I say to you, my brothers and sisters, many of you may not realize, but if you start seeing volcanoes and earthquakes in close proximity where you are, would that not take the peace from you? Would that not take peace from people on the earth? If you can't identify when an earthquake is coming, when a volcano, how far it's going to reach, that will take away the peace. That will take away business as usual. That will disrupt the norms. People out of desperation will slay one another, trying to take one another's cars or transportation, money, resources, food and water, trying to occupy people's space. But the Almighty Father will protect those who must fulfill the final exodus and must fulfill other tasks given to them. The second seal is about earthquakes and volcanoes ramping up with intensity, taking the peace away. Commerce is no longer like it should be or would be. Governments and entities are not functioning the way they desire to function. For the peace will be taken as a result of intense earthquakes. Pray, O Yashar'al, the second seal is open. The earthquakes will intense. Mountains will move, and so will its inhabitants around it. The third seal, O Yashar'al. When he opened the third seal, I heard the third living creature say, "Come and see." And I looked and saw a black horse, and he who sat on it holding a pair of scales in his hand. And I heard a voice in the midst of the four living creatures saying, "A measure of wheat for a denarius, and 3 measures of barley for a denarius, and do not harm the oil and the wine." My brothers and sisters, there are individuals ordered to complete specific tasks, specifically the final exodus. Do not harm the oil, mean do not harm the anointed that are alive and walking upon the face of the earth. And the wine, the mature, anointed and mature. Where do you get wine from? Fruit. What is fruit if it's not a product of a mature vine or tree? And to get wine, is there not fluids, water within the fruit? Some with little to none, some with more, like nuts versus a berry. Are we not aware that there was a time when Yahusha Mashiach turned water to wine, infusing his word to fruit, producing something at a wedding feast? Do not harm the anointed and the mature, the anointed and the ones who've been sealed by the Almighty Father. The third seal, I say to you, O Yashar'al, a black horse. Think about it. Pray about it. Can you see the realities? If there are earthquakes and volcanoes, are you going to ask somebody how much money they have, how many diamonds and rubies they have? Are you going to ask how large is their 401k, their IRA, their portfolio? Would you be concerned with currencies? Or if you have water but no food, you would be willing to share some water for some food. Or if you have food and no water, you'd be willing to barter. Or if you need transportation, you have gas, someone else has the car, automobile, truck, or what have you. So you give them some gas for a ride. Clothing. I submit to you the main and most expensive thing that will come to be as earthquakes, as widespread destruction and death, as pandemics, as destruction come, water and food will be the two most valuable currency. Shelter, fresh air, place of safety. This third seal is talking about how economies will collapse. How, as the peace that was taken and the seal that came before it led to people bartering, trading one resource to another. Pray, O Yashar'al, for it has begun already. Look at all the different ways you can spend and gather money. Right now, currencies and monies and finances and the investment in stock markets and different things got all types of acronyms, from fungibles to NFTs to mutual funds to index funds, stocks and bonds and treasury notes, to say the least. Digital currencies. All of these will collapse, my brothers and sisters, as man began to realize that as famine ramp up, as drought become widespread, water and food will take the stage, O Yashar'al. Continue with me as I move on. There's a fourth seal. My brothers and sisters, though there are 7 seals, there are only 4 horsemen. The fourth seal. Come as I explain something that I believe will come to be. And when he opened the fourth seal, I heard the voice of the fourth living creature say, "Come and see." And I saw a green horse. Some versions will say pale horse. He who sat on it had the name Death, and grave followed with him. And authority was given to him over a fourth of the earth to kill with sword, with hunger, with death, and by the beasts of the earth. My brothers and sisters, do you not think that during catastrophes and earthquakes, do you not think that as man becomes frantic and desperate, trying to determine what to do, among the children of Yashar'al, those who are refined and disciplined, we will understand it is the plan of the Almighty Father coming to be. But those who are not, they will be frantic, wouldn't know what to do. This fourth horse reveals how, as death becomes widespread, over a fourth of the earth will be killed with the sword, with weapons, with hunger, with death, by the beasts of the earth. Are you not aware that as climate change, as man has polluted and disrupted, as destruction comes, just as man will begin to flee and look for safety, do you not think the wild beasts of the earth will be looking for safety and food and water? Do you not think that there will be some wild beasts attacking men, women, and children? If you doubt this, you need to look and search, for that has begun. But it will increase as the earthquakes and volcanoes ramp up. The fourth seal will prove, my brothers and sisters, how death will be enlarged beyond our imagination. And then we move to the fifth seal, O Yashar'al. There were 4 horsemen, but now we get to the fifth seal. Come with me as we read about the fifth seal. Revelation chapter 6 still. Now I want to read verses 9 through 11. The fifth seal. He opened the fifth seal, and I saw under the slaughter place the being of those having been slain for the word of the Almighty One, for the witness of which they held. And they cried with a loud voice, saying, How long, O Master, set apart and true, until you judge and avenge our blood on those who dwell on the earth? And there was given to each one a white robe, and they were told they should rest a little while longer, until both the number of their fellow servants and their brothers who would be killed as they were complete. Many people, I've seen many teachers take the position that these individuals were specific martyrs. But I say to you, O Yashar'al, these are those in the place that the Almighty Father, that place of rest that is described by the Mashiach, that place of rest. These are all those who died looking forward to the physical presence of Yahusha Mashiach, looking towards this sacrifice and resurrection. Those who witnessed it and those who look back and believe that it occurred and have passed. This is speaking of all the set apart ones. For we will be at a place where we wait until it's all over with. Some will say, what's the slaughter place? Are you not aware that our deaths occurred on planet Earth? Or if you're in space, that your bodies ended up to some landmass, some place, slaughtered, one way or another. Earth is the slaughtered place. But there's a place that the Almighty Father has reserved our spirit to wait in peace and comfort until the resurrection time come. If you doubt this, why do you think he said those that are dead will be risen? My brothers and sisters, that's the slaughter place it speaks of. And as we get close to the final end, they are allowed to ask, how much longer before you avenge our blood? He goes on to say, and there was given to each one a white robe, and they were told they should rest a little while longer. Rest. You see, the bodies goes back to the earth, but the spirit goes to that place that has been established by the Almighty Father. The fifth seal gives us confirmation that we are conscious, those who face physical death, and are able to communicate with the Almighty One in that place of rest. Now, I want to bring your attention to the sixth seal. The sixth seal, O Yashar'al, for we await its opening. We await to see proof whether or not it is opened. Take a look, O Yashar'al. Still in the 6th chapter of Revelation, the 12th verse through the 17th read, and I looked, and he opened the 6th seal and I saw a great earthquake came to be. The sun became black as sackcloth of hair, and the moon became as blood. And the stars of the heaven fell to the earth as a fig tree drops its unripe figs, being shaken by a strong wind. And heaven departed like a scroll being rolled up, and every mountain and island was moved out of its place. Could it be that they are returning back to Pangea? And he says, and the sovereigns of the earth, and the great ones, and the rich ones, and the commanders, and the mighty, and every slave, and every free one, hid themselves in the caves and in the rocks of the mountains. You see, my brothers and sisters, just as Yashar'al will be gathered from the four corners of the earth, many nations, kindreds, and tongues that are made one by Yahusha HaMashiach, we will be gathered. But there will be many nations, kindreds, and tongues on the wicked side gathered. And they will gather in the valley at one point, in the valley of Megiddo, to plan their final march against the set-apart one. Many teachers erroneously say it's the battle of Armageddon. Armageddon, this valley have seen wars indeed. But this is not what the scripture is saying in Revelation. Know this, O Yashar'al, the wicked nations will gather together en masse in the valley of Megiddo, but then they will march towards where we have been gathered from the four corners of the earth, the focal point being the true mountain of Yahuah, true Mount Sinai. The set-apart ones of Yahuah will be around Mount Sinai, currently known as Jabal al-Lal, situated in the northwest quadrant of Saudi Arabia. They will gather in Megiddo and begin to march towards the set-apart ones. The final set-apart ones who were stragglers in Jerusalem would have received messages from the two witnesses to get out, to go to the right place at the right times. Yes, I believe the two witnesses of Revelation will echo the message in Jerusalem to those who believe that's where they're supposed to be, waiting on Mashiach, Yahusha. And I believe that the things that they would do is to remove obstacles that impede their message, that impede them from doing their tasks. I believe they are the last two major shepherds of Yashar'al and the coming and gathering together of Yashar'al. And as they are killed, when they rise up after 3.5 days being dead, and they are called up, we will witness the foot, the presence, the wholeness of Yahusha HaMashiach split the mountains, and there will be a great earthquake. And man would have exhausted all his alternative propaganda and rhetoric and words to say would have been exhausted. Every possible solution would have been exhausted. And so those who are running from the Almighty Father, who have set out to hide in the mountains and in the caves, opposed to suffocating in the caves, they will say, mountains, fall on us. Fall on us because the great day of his wrath has come. Things are brought to an end, O Yashar'al. The sixth seal is yet to happen, but it's close. The seventh seal, O Yashar'al. You will find that those 7 seals, only 4 horsemen. And you will discover, O Yashar'al, that the 7th seal is not mentioned in the 6th chapter. It jumps from the 6th chapter, goes to the 7th chapter of Revelation, which bring attention to the 144,000 Hebrews. It brings attention to the 12 tribes of Yashar'al. It brings attention to promises that was made by the Almighty Father. Here, O Yashar'al, the promises that the Almighty Father made will come to be. There will be a gathering from the 4 corners of the earth. There will be a healing. There will be unity. And we will witness the Almighty Father fulfill his word. In the 7th chapter, it talks about 12,000 from each of the 12 tribes of Yashar'al. For those who think you cannot identify who the true Hebrews are, the Almighty Father knows. Regardless of what letter, what text you're reading, the true representatives of the 12 tribes of Yashar'al, 12,000 from each of the 12, will rise up. Along with them, a great multitude. Now, many people talk about the 144,000 as they the only ones sealed. But if you read that whole chapter, 7th chapter of Revelation, the 144,000 and great multitude was sealed in their forehead. Now later you would read where the 144,000 sung a song, and you would read about 144,000 on the mountain. It didn't say the 144,000 was on the mountain and there were no other set apart ones. The millions of people gathered around Mount Sinai could not all fit on the mountain. So the scripture is just letting you know that the 144,000 was surrounded at a level of the mountain, singing the song, a song that has been given. But all nations, kindreds, and tongues that have been drawn by Yahuah to Yahusha Mashiach, who are physically alive, who receive white robes, washed in the blood of the Lamb, by the word of Yahuah, will be present during such times. But many misinterpret, just because it says the 144 is on the mountain and singing the song, they just disregard the great multitude. They disregard that in Revelation 7:14, it says that they came out of the distress. So what? They didn't have a seal to protect them? Yashar'al, oh Yashar'al. Believe what you will, but know this. It's all booked. Revelation, booked ends. Ends are booked. The Almighty Father Yahuah is the beginning and the end. Come with me, O Yashar'al, as I read about the seventh seal. So chapter 7 talks about the 144,000 and great multitude. But when you come to chapter 8, now we see mention of the seventh seal. And it says, and when he opened the seventh seal, there came to be silence in the heaven for about a half hour. And I saw the 7 messengers who stand before the Almighty One, and to them were given 7 trumpets. And another messenger came and stood at the slaughter place, holding a golden censer, and much incense was given to him, that he should offer it with the prayers of all the set apart ones upon the golden slaughter place, which was before the throne. And the smoke of the incense and the prayers of the set apart ones went up before the Almighty One from the hand of the messenger. And the messenger took the censer and filled it with fire from the slaughter place and threw it to the earth. And there was noise and thunders and lightnings and an earthquake. You see, some will probably say, well, you just said the slaughter place through the earth. This sin is up in heaven. Do you think it's only one slaughter place? Think again. Pray, O Yashar'al. This 7th seal marks the end. It gives the trumpets. And I'm not going to go into the 7 trumpets and the timing and what is being described. But I will say to you, O Yashar'al, during all that is about to happen, there will be transformations. There will be deliverance. O Yashar'al, Yashar'al, trust the words of the Almighty Father. Revelation. Book ends. From beginning to end. I've done a series called The Closing Scroll. I presented to you words that can contribute to our expectation, to expect the landmass as we know it now to change, to expect a new heaven and a new earth, to expect earthquakes and destruction, but to expect deliverance. These earthen vessels will go back to the earth, and our spirits will rest until resurrection day. For those who are physically alive when the Mashiach, when Yahusha Mashiach physically return, there will be a transformation. Yashar'al, oh Yashar'al. One day, what will your words be? I wish that I would have, I should have, or I'm glad I did. Remember, loving your enemies, blessing those that's cursing you, is doing what is right in the eyes of Yahuah. Sometimes doing what's best hurts. Look at all that he's done for us. Do he not love us? For it is written, he disciplined those whom he loved. And in that discipline, and all that he's done from the beginning to the end, He hath brought comfort. He hath slain nations. He hath divided lands. He hath brought lands together. He hath scattered people. He hath brought people together. Our whole life history, the teachings from beginning to end, my brothers and sisters, were booked by he who is the Almighty One. So what say you, O Yashar'al? What are you prepared to do in these final days as booked ends become real? Yashar'al, O Yashar'al, help me. Help me to forge together those who are being drawn by the Almighty Father. I truly believe he will harden hearts and soften hearts. There's much work to be done, and we will grow to realize so little time to accomplish such tasks. As we look at civilizations and communities falling, chaos ramping up, do you not see the collapse of governance across the world in this great storm that is coming? For the wicked one of one world government, the anti-Mashiach and false prophet, to the children of Yahuah, shepherds, leaders, guards, counselors, pastors, deacons, that are anointed and chosen by the Almighty Father, brought together to that set-apart place, gathered from the four corners of the earth. That's a lot of work, a lot of movement between now and the fulfillment of such descriptions. Help me, O Yashar'al. Below, you see, I say subscribe, share. Others may listen and get something you miss. Consider finances. What will I do with finances? It will help sustain me. It will help set up virtual communications among Yashar'al that is scattered. I believe I am charged with contributing towards the gathering of Yashar'al in the Western Hemisphere. And that gathering will be in the Commonwealth in the state of Virginia. And I believe there are plans that will unfold, that will make way for those who will begin to start heading this way, heading to Virginia before crossing the Great Atlantic. Help me, O Yashar'al. There are other ways you can help. Words, instructions, vetting us. Let us vet one another. Let us take the time to look at the scriptures. Though I shared and showed a rock, a plate, a broken plate. I talked about broken tectonic plates. Yes, that was simple. Simple enough, O Yashar'al. But who is able to see how things must come to be and will come to be at the hand of the Almighty Father? How many, O Yashar'al, understand that there is work to be done? There are other ways to contribute. Your skills, your talent. Who among you are drivers of semi-trucks? Have you given thought to hauling Yashar'al to their exit points or their final destinations? Who among you can drive a bus, fly a plane, navigate a boat? Who among you know how to plant seeds and grow? Who among us know how to instruct the children, guard and protect the children? Who among us understand the dynamics of marriage and protecting and loving, and how to demonstrate Yahusha's relationship to the bride? Who among us is able to discern what the Spirit is saying as this final exodus takes shape? Every skill that you have, even the one you think may not be important, if it contributes towards the building up of life in a nation, it is important. Help me, O Yashar'al. There are other ways. If you wanted to give financially, there are other ways. There's a contact form on my website that you can fill out. Reach out and I will give you the other means in which you can give. How? If you want to send using PayPal, I will give you that PayPal me address. Reach out if you want to help financially. Reach out if you want to make your skills known and have a place in this great gathering that is about to take place. Yashar'al, oh Yashar'al. The leaders, the pastors, the bishops, the community heads, those who are filled with egos, those who are weighted down by strongholds of wickedness, will either face discipline and refined or face sickness that will lead to death. Some will be left behind, and some will be purged from among our midst. We must understand, and it would be wise to recognize that vetting, asking the questions, and when I began White Rose Family, the first several videos, I talked about how the 7 major feast days has a purpose as a blueprint for vetting, an order in which to vet and examine. And I believe to this day, if we fail to examine one another, if we fail to examine and vet one another, how then can we be as iron sharpen iron? Come and help me, O Yashar'al. While I yet have breath, I seek your help. For one day, what will your words be? I wish I would have. I should have. I'm glad that I did. What will you say to the plea of help? What would you say to the cry to discuss and vet and be as iron sharpen iron, with the patience and the swiftness to come together in unity? On that note, Revelation bookends. It's all booked, oh Yashar'al. It's booked up. And the venue will prove its use. The place in which we will go will prove to be that which is assigned by the Almighty Father. Book ends. End times are here. The realities of what's unfolding is before us. On that note, my brother, my sister, I salute your patience. I salute your tolerance. I hope that you see a planet that was scattered, continents that was spread, that there is the possibility that they will come back. I hope you will see that in the midst of all the earthquakes and moving mountains, that it will force people to move. The question is, if you're physically alive, where are you headed? I presented the case of the seals. Choose, O Yashar'al, this day. Again, I salute your patience, your tolerance, and your pursuit of set apartness. My name is Symmanayah, and these are the words I'm compelled to present before an awakening, set apart nation. My prayer is that you grow, that each of us grow richly in discerning the voice of the Almighty Father Yahuah that comes to us in Yahusha's name. Yahusha, the name Yahusha represents his word, the Almighty Father Yahuah's word. To ignore that is to ignore his word. To ignore him is to ignore his word. Pray and watch, O Yashar'al. There's much more to come. Stay tuned. Shalum.